Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to our show, the Pat and Bernard and John, PJ, Pat and John, the Pat and John show right now. And you're listening to us. And listen, guys, of course, if you are down Ocean City, New Jersey, go to all campus, all campus all the time with my man John Quill right there at his beautiful hat store selling sports hats. But listen, a lot to get into, John. There's Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. There's of course, with Philadelphia sports, there's never a day off. There's never a dull moment.
And there's never a dull moment.
No, that's for sure. So let's start off the bat. Of course, we're going to start with the Sixers today. And of course, listen, I know there's a lot of off the court issues right now with Joel Embiid. And I don't want to really get into it because I wasn't there, and I don't want to say the blame game because I'm not about the off the court issues. I'm more of the X guys. So for the StreamPunk Entertainment viewers who are really getting to know me, I want to talk about what's going on the court because on the court to me is more important.
You got enough to talk about there.
Yeah, and John, can this 76ers team play 4 quarters of basketball? They look like they are old, and I'm sorry, but I love Drummond, but Drummond looks like he's a step too slow. Eric Gordon, gave you 10 points last night, looked really hot in the beginning, and then it just looked like this team gave up by middle of the third quarter. You had the Grizzlies just dropping threes, it just did not look like a team that's ready for any kind of. And this team's only 5 games in, and we only have 1
That's
win.
it. Yeah,
that's not good enough.
The Sixers are built for stars. Without our stars, we're being exposed, right? And you just said it. Andre Drummond is a great player, but he's a great backup. He's not a starter. You can't get 30 minutes out of that man. Eric Gordon is an okay player when he gets 10, 12 minutes. You can't get him 20 minutes. It's not going to happen. Same thing with Martin, who I think is a great defender. But you can't ask him to defend the top guy for 35 minutes every game. You just can't. They're not at that level anymore in their careers. They were signed to be role players and not players that we are counting on to win games. And that's our main issue right now. And I don't know how you get around that without condemning Paul George and Joel Embiid. It really all comes down to that. And it's the worst part that you say to that for the 76ers fan base, right? You don't want to blame everything on injury. This team should be constructed knowing that these guys are injury prone. And it looks like they just weren't, right? We got elderly guys at the cheap who are way past their prime.
And you're absolutely right, John. Because when you look at this team and you hit it, these guys you brought in are only supposed to be role player guys, not supposed to be getting 20 minutes a night or anything like that.
Nope.
And again, what's Nick Nurse doing? We have Jalen McLean's just sitting there and getting a little bit of time. And of course, he had the most points coming off the bench. He had 19 points last night coming off the bench. I love Kyle Lowry, of course, the Philly kid, but we don't need him there. And that's right too, Mitch. There is no communication at all through the entire game. And of course, there was missed passes yesterday. And that's the thing that's daunting this team. You're asking for too much from 2 older names. And that's the thing. The Sixers brought in these old names that look flashy. And to me, I'm like, that means what to me? I want a young, upcoming player. You guys are signing Eric Gordon, and this is what we signed up for. Old names who these guys can't play defense. You saw it last night.
None of them can play defense.
The perimeter, Memphis did whatever they wanted. That's what I'm talking about. Hashtag.
I'm going to chime in real fast here. And from the drafting of Jared, I hated it, right? because you're trying to develop and you know you're going to have to develop Maxey, which means he needs the ball. He's not an off-the-ball guy. He has to have the ball. Jared McCann, needs the ball. Right? It's just bad drafting. It's bad construction of a roster. There were so many other players that we could have gotten who may not have been best player available like he was, right? We got a steal at the draft slot that we got him at. But he's not a fit for this team. And that's where I have a problem is the GM, the organization does not put pieces to fit this team. NBA, we said it last week. I'll say it every single week probably. Star-driven league. Build around your stars. Do not try to create new stars. It doesn't happen. It usually does not happen. We have Maxey who needs the ball. Do not draft another guy who needs to command the ball. Even though he's good, even though he could probably score 25 every game, there's only one ball in the NBA.
And you're right. You know, like another issue has arisen. I'm just thinking about it as you're talking. You're talking about guys who need balls in it. You know, they need the ball, need the rock, but no one else. I mean, they thought the solution, bringing Andre Drummond back, was going to be better, ideally on paper, than B-Ball Paul and Mo Bamba. And technically, offensively, it didn't pan out that way. I mean, he's better as, again, he had 9 rebounds yesterday. So what? So what? I mean, he's getting caught underneath the net.
And we got murdered on the boards.
Yeah, and we're right. We did. Again, they're getting out. They're out rebounding us. And of course, you saw it yesterday. Memphis, their backup big man, Jay Huff, dropped 5 threes on this team. 5 threes.
That guy go undrafted.
You're right. You know what I mean? I mean, he killed this team with 20 points. I mean, he had off the bench. I mean, again, the Sixers don't have an answer. And this Mickey Mouse game, and again, I'm a guy who's not about the off the court issues. I let that, let the players in, whatever. But however, this game that's going on with Joel Embiid and whatever and Paul George, it's hurting this team. And I get it. The fans are frustrated. They're paying the bill. They're paying the ticket. They're paying the food and all that thing, and they want to see their MVP, their superstars on the floor, and they're not getting it. And that's why I named the show the Faces of Philadelphia, because Joel Embiid, when you look at the 76ers, he's supposed to be the face of this team, and he's nowhere to be found. And you're forcing
the face of the city,
right? And now you're forcing these older players to try to, I guess, was supposed to hold on to, okay, these guys probably have something left in their tank and they want to kind of play with it. But no, there's nothing left in Eric Gordon. They can't give you 4 quarters of basketball. They're cooked. And it's shown.
You know what the worst part is? I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, Pat, but
no.
You're using all these guys early in the year. What is going to happen at game 80? What's going to happen in the playoffs when these guys are absolutely spent because we used up all their minutes early in the season? Like it's not going to get any better, right? These guys are only going to get more injuries, more depleted later on down the year. We're 5 games into it, and we're already talking about how weak these backup role players are. It's not going to get any better at game 60 and in the playoffs. It's just not.
No, and listen, I'll take it a step further because, all right, and again, just going by off resume, all right, well, Nick Nurse will come up with something creative and he'll figure something out. And now you kind of question, is this head coach the right guy for the job? And maybe like I said, I'm speaking too soon. I'm looking down the road. But, it's still somewhere in the back of my mind saying, yo, Nick, what's going on? What's going on with your coaching schemes? All that stuff. I mean, sometimes, like I said, I see Drummond on the perimeter, and there's no big man down low, and teams are exploiting that. And so you're getting ready to go on this West Coast trip, it doesn't get any easier. You got the Suns, the Lakers, Clippers is easy. I'll give you that. And it's Charlotte next week, but after that, I mean, again, it picks up the Knicks, Cleveland. Cleveland's playing good ball right now. So I don't know how can this Sixers, and the front office let this go on anymore.
You know what was funny watching the game last night? Or yesterday. It was more. I can't see KJ Martin guarding Jackson Jr. anymore. I mean, they exploded when that happened. Jackson Jr., I think he scored like 10 points in a row, 5 buckets in a row. They just totally took advantage of that mismatch. Everyone who's sitting here saying they hate Tobias Harris, all that, well, we missed Tobias Harris yesterday, right? We missed a guy who can defend at the 4 yesterday because we do not have one.
You know what? I mean, you're right, John. I mean, it's crazy. Like, we all laughed and giggled and, I'm glad he's out of here. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask. Because now that he's not here, you have KJ Martin, who came in for 20 minutes and only gave you 2 buckets. That's not good enough.
And he got dominated down low.
Right. He got crushed. And again, everyone's talking about the KJ Martin's upside. I've yet to see it. Where is it? And you know what I mean? It's crushing me. Again, here comes Eric Gordon to try to help this young kid out. You're asking for an older veteran player to come bail this team. It's crazy where this team's at right now.
And there's no future to it, right? There's no fixing it. This is our team. If Joel Embiid and Paul George do not come and play the rest of the series, are we really talking about the Sixers not making the playoffs? Is that not a possibility right now?
And you know what? So again, we've all seen the current press conference with Joel Embiid. Hell, he's getting frustrated, of course. Whatever happened last night, all that stuff. But now it's getting to the point. If they wind up because of everything, is just let him go, and which I doubt they'll do. But if somehow they let him go, found a way. This is just going to tell the fan base. And again, now you're looking 10 years into it, that the process was nothing but a waste of time. That's all you're looking at. I
believe we're still using that word.
Right. And, because, we got rid of Ben. And I get it. Listen, everyone was for the plan. Everybody thought the plan was going to work. But listen, it's 10 years. You're only a second round knockout. If you can make it that far anymore. And your all-star center, just like he said in his post, he's by the time playoff comes around, he's cooked and he's banged up. So I don't understand. And it's a shame. It's a shame where this franchise has gone. It's almost dwelling. What's the direction of it anymore? Okay, we're supposed to be building around Joel Embiid. What have we built around him with? I mean, to me, your best punch was the quadruple doink with this team. The Bellinelli area.
That was
after that, this team has been imploded, and we're still trying to come up with excuses. And like you just said, everyone laughed and giggled about Tobias Harris. Want to get him out of here. He was the he was the whipping boy. We need to get rid of the whipping boy. And your whipping boy has been here the entire time, and he's sitting on the sidelines. And it is what it is. It's a shame. It's a shame for what this team is, and I think it's like everyone says, well, and again, Joel Embiid, when he's on the floor, like I said last week, he's the best basketball player in the world when he's healthy. But the Boston Celtics don't have a Joel Embiid, and look how they panned out because they got a bunch of players. Here goes our man Mike Lauer. He goes, the process failed. It's over. Should have traded him 2 years ago. And listen. And Mike possibly could be right. And listen, when he was fully healthy and before he got, but it's like, damn if you with this franchise, it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because without him, you see what this team is.
I don't want to hear the trade, right? We can't trade him. He is a top 3 player in this league when healthy. You're not trading a guy like that because you're never getting compensation back that's going to be equal. It's just not going to happen. What you got to do is live and die by what we have, right? We've known this now for 3 years. This is what this guy is. Let's stop praising him as the next savior, and let's just try to start milking him for what he's got left. I, let's get in at the 10 seed. I don't care at this point. Let's just get into the playoffs with a healthy Joel Embiid and Paul George and see what happens. You got to beat the Celtics. You got to beat the Bucks. You got to beat the Cavs. You got to beat all these teams that are going to be in the playoffs anyway. It doesn't matter if you're 1 seed or 10 seed. That's where I'm looking at this year from now on is I'm done with the regular season. Joel Embiid, you're a mush to me in the regular season. Sit out every game. I don't care. But you better make the playoffs.
Well, that's the thing, John. I don't. And Mike said, "What? You know, am I missing something? What's he want?" And I look again. Well, he has been the MVP. He should have been MVP like 3 times. He's been robbed by the Joker. That's my personal opinion. But again, it sucks because without him, I don't know if this team can even stiff the playoffs. And because I've seen this team, this team looks again. They can't play 4 quarters of basketball. And it's saddening at this point. And you saw it last year. The minute he went down with his injury, this team was cooked. This team didn't have a chance of making the playoffs. It was over. And again, it's scared to me if this guy can't even. You say, like you said, game 80. I don't know if this guy can get you 40 games. I mean, they are really
not,
trying.
Right?
No,
but 35 make us in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's all we can hope for right now.
And that's where, like I said, I want to get into this because it's a great conversation. And guys, if you are just checking the show, guys, give my man John Quill here a follow right there at All Campus Sports Store, right there in Ocean City, New Jersey. Give a store, check out, follow them out. Guys, it's a great conversation we're having. We're talking about Sixers, Flyers right now. And that's another thing. I mean, and that's another loss that this city is talking about. The Philadelphia Flyers. They just lost Sam Harrison yesterday. He goes down. He takes a lower body injury. And again, up until yesterday, this team played decent. I mean, he stopped 46 goals in 2 days. He looked great. The defense was great. But again, there is no offense for this team. And I'm getting tired of hearing people say, well, they were an overdriven team last year. They weren't supposed to be like that. No, you can't have that no more. You can't have that.
Right.
The Flyers made an improvement. I said last year, this team was going to be a sneaky good team. And there is to me, what the Flyers do from here, missing Sam Harrison, what Danny Barrera, if he brings in a Surgical backup, because now you're kind of have to force his hand to, it tells me what Danny Barrera wants to do with this season. Because if he's going to ride with Vanilla Toff and, grabbing
Ozlov,
the guy underneath the gritty outfit, whatever he can find to play goaltending. If he don't bring a Surgical backup, it's like I said, it's make or break this season. And to me, the offense needs to pick up. I mean, they are just getting outplayed on every angle. There is just nothing good for this Flyers offense. Nothing. You're winning by 1 in the 2 game.
The circling. Am I here? Sorry,
you're good.
The circle game and the cycle game has been looking good for this team. I like it when they are playing that way, but they need to find ways to get that cycle game to the front of the net, right? That's been the missing link. The cycle game's been working in the corners, but now let's find a way to get it to the front of the net and get those greasy goals. You have scorers like Tyson Forrester, who I want to see a little bit more getting his shot off. Morgan Frost, who has been just snake bitten this year, but I want to see him get his shot off a little bit more. Sean Couturier, all these guys who can muck it in front of the net. That's where we need to start getting the cycle game to, instead of trying to drive it to the point. Right? Let's start driving it to the net. Let's get some more rubber on the goalie and see how this team plays. I think it's a fundamental change that they need to do. And I'm hoping that Torts is the right guy to push it that way, because there is skill. We see the skill, right? There's a lot of skill, but they're trying to be too pretty. Don't be pretty. Let's just make the plays that are available to us. Let's not try to look good making the plays.
And that's what I'm seeing with this team too. I'm seeing a lot of dump and chase hockey again. I feel like we're back to that era of dump and chase. The opposition gets the puck, brings it back down. You saw it yesterday. Marchand just kind of finding a couple guys in, finding guys open, and of course the one puck yesterday gets tween.
The arm,
has the arm, whatever, and he gets in the back of the net. Oh, Tom Kelly, what's up, buddy? He says, "Good morning, fellas. Go Birds, go Birds." So again, I mean, the Phillies, the Flyers offense, like I said, like Boucher said, he said, "Oh, don't worry, the offense will start picking up." I'm like, I'm hoping, like you said, they're getting too pretty with the puck. It's pass, overpass. It's like, guys, can we just aim it at the back of the net for once? Again, they're winning by again. Like you said, the defense has looked a lot better. Nick Sealer, of course, being a bulletproof vest this week, taking a lot of shots. The defenses look good. Sam Harrison's played very well. Like I said, stopping 45 out of 46 goals. He's looked really, really well. He's been playing a lot better. And then he got hurt. And then it's just like, man, this is like the wrong time for this guy to get hurt, because you got to face Carolina. You got you're on the road. You got to face Carolina. You got to go down and face Tampa. You got to go down and face the Panthers. This is a wrong time for some of the key piece of this team to get banged up, because if not, those are 3 scheduled losses. And this is, like I said, between the Flyers and Sixers, this might be a long, long winter, because it's going to be a product. It's going to really, like, we're just going to be looking towards Sundays, and that's it. Like, we're not. It's going to hurt us.
Yeah, so, I'm totally in agreement with you. Like, I don't see where the Flyers improve, right? You're talking about going to get a goalie. That's not going to happen. We're not going to get a goalie. What we need to do is Kozlov talking all that crap in the beginning of the year, not wanting to come to the Flyers because he wanted to have an NHL spot instead of AHL. Well, here's your chance, big boy. Step up. Like, this is it.
And listen,
you have it now.
And listen, you can't be running your mouth and think, like you said, this is. Listen, I know it's in your game too, but guess what? It's a sink or swim kind of a business. So you're gonna have to find out whether you got the game or not for this league. But it's like I said, it's real bothering some. And so let me ask you: we talked a little bit about Nick Nurse. How do you feel deep inside about John Tortorella? Do you feel like he's the kind of guy that will turn this franchise around? Like I said, a remarkable year last year, but this year it just seems like, I don't know if the message is there. To me, I don't know if they're buying in. They're waiting. I feel like the Flyers offensively are waiting to the point where something needs to go wrong, where they lose. Unfortunately, a let go of a head coach will wake up this team. That's, to me, like the only time that this team feels like they turn around that these kind of points.
Yeah, and I love Torts. I think Torts is a Hall of Fame coach. He's done it in the past, but he's also done it with veteran teams. He's not a young guy coach. We've already seen it with Mitchkov. Like, he doesn't have the patience for him. You can't bench the 19-year-old future superstar of this team. I don't care how bad he plays. You can't bench that man. That's not how you install discipline to young guys in this world anymore, let alone in sports. I don't think changing of the coach is going to be the move that sparks this team. I think it's just going to be a long year, right? And let's hope we get an 8 spot. Let's hope we sneak into the playoffs and go from there. We need a goalie. we're going to find out this year if one of these three are going to be the answer. If it's not, that's got to be our next move. We're going to have the cap space for it. So let's play out this year and see what it looks like.
And you're right. I'm just, because and maybe they did overachieve last year. I don't like the fact that this team looked so well last year, played so well. I mean, of course, unfortunately, you have the Carhartt issue that took place, and we all get it, what happened. Steve, by the way, says, "Hey, what's up, fellas? John, that's a sick looking hat."
Thanks, Steve.
But my thing is, John, this team overachieved last year. You had Carhartt, the whole issue came to surface, and then this team put a lot of pressure on Sam Harrison. I thought by now, but like you said, there's a cap issue, and Dave Barrera only did what he felt like was the best move moving forward. But I don't like the fact that a couple guys have said, well, this is a rebuild year. Well, hey, listen, I would say this is a rebuild year if the team was a bottom feeder. Then I would say, yeah. But once the team kind of overachieved, and then you use the excuse, hey, listen, you got to keep on moving forward now. And, listen, you got a young prodigy in your hands, because I felt like the tenure of Travis Konechny has been nothing but a rebuild year. And I felt like that's an asset you were supposed to move forward with because of the skill set of his speed, his accuracy. I thought the guy was, should be wearing the C. And I feel like ever since they displayed the C thing, the captain, I felt like that's where the team took a step back, because when they didn't have a captain last year, up until March, April, since they named Coots the captain, this team has been playing fine. And look what happened. The minute they named him captain, they benched him. So it's crazy. But listen, it's like I said, I hope for the best this winter. I hope that this team can find a will to win. I just feel like there's going to be 3 chalk losses coming up for the Flyers. Sixers need to find a way to win. Scott, is Mike around? Is he ready to rock and roll? I guess he'll be punching in soon. But yeah. So again, frustrating times. Flyers lose 3-0 to the Boston Bruins yesterday at 1 o'clock. The 76ers follow up with a loss yesterday, losing to the Memphis Grizzlies. There's not.
Penn State takes a devastating loss.
It's just a shame for. And then we are about to get it again, and we are going to have that conversation coming up soon. I'm having a football Penn State Insider, Michael Bolger, are going to join the program. My good buddy who covers Penn State from out there and Happy Valley. But yeah, so John, where are you though? As far as do you think one of the two franchises can turn it around here? I mean, how serious do you think this low body injury is going to be with Sam Harrison?
Yeah, I didn't even see the injury, so I don't even know what really happened to him. I heard he lost skate blade and then he got injured. I don't know what it is. And obviously hockey players don't tell you. You just get a lower body. I'm hoping it's not long term. Hopefully he will be fine in a week or so. But it doesn't matter to me. This Flyers team is not going to be a contender. They're not going to compete for the cup. What we need to see is a small gradual steps, right? We did overplay last year. Let's not kid ourselves. This team overplayed last year, and I don't want to take a huge step back, but you're expecting to take a little step back from what you did last year. Does that mean we don't compete for a playoff spot? No, I hope we do compete for a playoff spot. But if we don't make it, I'm not going to sit here and throw the towel in and say I'm done with this franchise, because I think they're heading in the right direction. I think Danny Briere does have this team heading in the right direction with Keith Jones. Hopefully, we just add that one piece. I think we're just missing that one piece, that one top scorer that you can count on the power play to put the puck in the net. Yeah. That's what we're missing. That's what we've been missing for a long time here with the Flyers.
Well, and so I'm with you, and I just get, because I think what I've only seen 2 championships in the city, so I get a little bit more impatient. So, but no, I think you're right though. With the Mets Cup maybe era taking place. I think that's fine. He looks really good. Of course, rookie of the month. He's playing really, really well.
Yeah.
But again,
It's two of the
we're taking
twins.
this
They
precautions. Of
are
course, you got guys like
outrageous sometimes.
Kennedy,
We like have to
Travis
reel them
Konechny,
in, but I was the same way.
Sean Couturier.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Like I said, those kind of
No
guys
doubt.
I like
Thank
to
you.
use
I
on
appreciate you
pump.
guys. Have a
But
good day.
and you got yourself a
Really?
defense.
Oh, yeah,
You surround
absolutely.
yourself with
Cool.
defense.
See you now.
Here goes our man Rob Heffner. He says, "Good morning from Sin City. Go Birds!" And the Sixers need to get their bleep together. It's a small ball. Just never beat Ohio. Well, listen, and I know you guys are patiently waiting to talk some Ohio, all that stuff. But yeah, that's like I said, that's going to be an issue moving forward with the Flyers. Of course, like I said, guys like me who get impatient, all that stuff. I felt like if the Carr-Hart situation never would have arose last year, I definitely felt like this team could have been a playoff team. Because, like you said,
and if Hart doesn't get the issue that he had, you definitely expect a step up, right? We had a good year last year, whether it was luck or not. We had a good year, and you wanted to have that step forward. Well, you missed the most important part of the NHL game in the goaltending, and you got to replace that. You're going to take a step back. Any team is going to take a step back. It's just what happens in the NHL, right? Goaltending is the number one thing. You have to have a goalie to win in this league. Flyers have one. And he made a poor choice, and now he's paying for it. And it sucks that we are catching the shrapnel of it. But, yeah, we're paying for it too.
Yeah, and we are paying for it. It sucks, but it is what it is. The Flyers, of course, I hate to say it, probably going to have to go out and find themselves a goalie. Go figure with this team. But it is what it is. And listen, I in time, maybe the offense will come around. Of course, you got, like I said, you got a set piece in Mitchkov. You have that piece in play. Travis Konechny. It's crazy because, and I get it. I'm getting overworked, and it's only November. It's only beginning of November. Like the season for hockey hasn't lifted off yet.
Nope.
You know what I mean? But I mean, I feel like Owen Tippett at some point is going to get hot. I feel like the Travis Konechny is going to pick up steam somewhere. I mean, again, and years past, the Philadelphia Flyers start out October is really hot, then they cool down in November. So maybe it's a reverse psychology this year. I don't know. I think maybe they could turn it around and so forth. So we'll have to see what happens. So guys, if you are checking out the show again, man, just chime in the show, hit that subscribe, hit that like button, all that stuff. But John, we did have a World Series. We had the Dodgers win the World Series.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to buy a little time until we got our man, Mike Bugler in here. The Dodgers win the World Series. I got to ask you. I ask this to every time a champion's crowned.
I know.
Let me.
Penn State shirt on. Sorry.
Oh man, listen. He must have been listening to the program. Listen, and Dodgers are crowned a new champion, all that stuff. We had that going on. But let's talk a little Penn State though, because a lot of mad Penn State fans were probably watching the show at this time and want to know what happened yesterday. And of course, James Franklin 1-10 against Ohio State. Not good at all. To you, what happened out there?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happens every year. This is it. We're going to the bowl. We're going to win it all. The championship year. This is it. And Ohio State rolls into town and smacks us and puts us right back where we're supposed to be. I'm tired of hearing it. I said it last night. I'm done with James Franklin. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a hell of a recruiter. Even though he lost out on the guy in his hometown right here that just beat us. But I think he's a great recruiter and a great guy. He's just not good enough to beat Ohio State and Michigan. That's been our crux. We smack every other team that we play. We can't get over that hump of Ohio State. We need to move on. It's been enough. Let's move on and see if we can get someone else in here that can beat this team. It's the only crux that we have, right? Is Ohio State. We win every other game.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because again, everyone's getting all hyped up about Ohio, about Penn State going on and on. And it's funny because this is their Super Bowl. It's to beat Ohio
Yep.
State, and they come up short every time. Yesterday, great start, great drive, run the ball, get the pick six. They're up 10-0, and then of course Will Howard just goes on a run. Of course, he's they're coming. Ohio State coming up, getting creative, coming up with some trick plays. Will Howard, a kid, Downey Town kid, doesn't really throw the ball down deep or anything like that. He just they dinked and dunked the whole entire time down the field. You can see this was a Chip Kelly playbook.
Yep.
This is what he did with St. Bradford. This is what he did yesterday. This was his playbook yesterday. Again, Will Howard, he has 16. He was 16 for 24, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. But again, they were very, very creative going down the field, and they just took liberties on this team. And then, of course, Drew Heller, what did Ohio State do yesterday was really, really good. They shut down their secondary was so good yesterday. Drew Heller didn't really go down deep with the rock. He had to find, they had to get creative with running plays and stuff like that. So, and then that's where they, right there on the goal line, fourth quarter, right there on the goal line, they just couldn't convert. They just couldn't.
Yeah. And I see that this team doesn't have a true number one wide receiver, right? There's nobody that gets separation. There's no one that gets open. Yes, we have the big tight end, number 44, who we rely on so much. But when he's taken out of the equation, this offense really looks stale. It looks like it doesn't know what direction to go if they can't get him 20 receptions a game. I'll tell you one thing: he lost the Heisman yesterday. That's gone now, as he was probably the favorite going into it. But I don't even think he passed for 150 yards. It was ugly. When your defense scores more points than your offense, you're not going to win.
No, you're not going to win at all. And like I said, it's a shame. I feel bad for Happy Valley. Next week they got the primetime matchup against Washington next week. But I mean, like I said, a lot of frustrating. And again, and I don't blame Penn State fans. Like they want James Franklin out here in the worst way, and you can't blame him for that.
No, and it's time. Right? It's time for from him. James Franklin has been here enough, and he has shown what he can do, which is put together a winning franchise. Right? He could put together a winning college team. He needs to go do that and start developing another college somewhere else. Penn State needs to win. Penn State needs to be at the national championship picture, like they've always been in years past, and we're not going to do that under James Franklin.
No, and you're right. And it sucks because, like you said, he's an awesome recruiter. Again, the play calling was horrible because, like I said, they stripped Drew Eller of his throwing game, and then it's like, all right, well, they're going to be decent with the running game. Again, Drew Eller. Like I said, 182 yards. I'm sorry. 12 completions out of 20. 12 completions out of 20, 146 yards, 1 interception. Again, but they need to get the ball across. They really couldn't get the ball down the field, and Ohio State just took it away. And there was no adjustments from James Franklin and that whole entire coaching staff.
No, and it sucks because at some point you just got to take a shot, right? You said it. They never drove the ball downfield. They never took that 30-yard pass opportunity. Whether it's there or not, you have to stretch the defense in football. You have to back up those safeties, especially when you have some running backs and some tight ends that need that open middle of the field. You got to push those safeties back. And we just never even tested it, let alone do it. We never even tested them to drive the ball 30 yards plus.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. He just couldn't, like his reads were pretty bad yesterday. Just trying to get, and then there was that one, of course, the last play for the Nittany Lions. If he throws it in triple coverage, I'm like, what
Yeah.
are we doing? What are we doing? And of course, again, I gotta give credit to Ohio State. They just come in here, like you said, they take away Penn State's toys on Christmas. Like this was their big Christmas.
Every year.
They were hoping every year. And like I remember last year when he lost, I think it was Michigan State or Ohio State, and and Jade Franklin's press conference was, I'll worry about in the all season. I'll worry. No, like you need to worry about that now. Like, is that going to be your answer to everything when it faces these two, major programs, these big time, top schools? I'll worry about that next year. Like, no, like we want answers now. Like, why did you keep choking every year? Like I said, it was a great first drive, first great quarter, going up 10-0.
Yeah.
Great. Then what? And then it was like there was no adjustments. There was nothing creative. They try to get it creative with the running game. Great. But after that, It was nothing. And especially in the red zone, that's where Ohio State came up big. They shut things down.
Yeah, number 44 has got to be the target, right? Especially at the last play. There's nobody else I'm throwing that ball to. There's nobody else I'm throwing that ball to. If I'm throwing it in the triple coverage, it's going to my top guy. And if he doesn't make the play, at least I can say I went out on my shield, right? But now we're all talking about how horrible of a last play that was, how horrible of a design it was. He threw it in triple coverage to a nobody. And that's a shame, right? Go out on your shield. James Franklin needs to, I don't know, come up with answers to why they're losing if he wants to keep his job, in my opinion. I'm over it. I love Penn State. I'm a Penn Stater, but he needs to step aside and either just be a recruiter and let someone else take over this team, or he needs to go down to a lower program and build and start from scratch and build a program, which I think he could do great. I think he could do that great.
And to your point, I mean, great. This team will most likely make the NCAA playoffs. Great. But what's after that? Like, what's the end game? Is just making the playoffs okay with you? Because you're not going to beat one of those top tier schools. Those top tier schools are going to handle you easily. You know what I mean? You're not going to be ready for that. And then what?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no.
What seed are you going into, right? What are you going to try to be, a 10 seed? Like, it's not. We had our chance. This was our chance to market and maybe be the number one team in the nation. This was our chance, and our defense played great to where we should have won it. We should have won this game.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, the Penn State defense, I can't take nothing away from them. 3 sacks on the day. But, and again, the offense, there's just no creativity. The play calling was garbage. I mean, the running games, that's all you had to do. And again, you're asking your banged up mobile quarterback to be mobile and try to create plays because he has nothing to throw down to. His reads, his checkdowns. He checked the ball, and there's some times where he got a little too much, holding the ball a little too long, and he paid the piper, especially in that third quarter where he got back-to-back sacked. So, and again, they are going to have to figure this out. Again, next week, Penn State's in prime time with they'll probably more likely handle Washington. Yeah, great. Then what? Like, what's like the big picture is you have to get past Ohio State or Michigan to tell us Penn State fans, okay, they're ready to go to the next level, but you're not going to do it with this guy at the helm. You're not. And until Penn State opens their eyes and realizes it, it's,
and you know what?
It's crazy.
The worst part
you're
is
1 in 10.
Is this was the year, right? Is you had everything in place. Michigan just came off a national championship, lost their coach. You knew they were going to take a step back. Ohio State, you have at home. All your big games you have at home this year. This was the year. If James Franklin couldn't do it this year, he's never going to do it.
Right. So, but listen, John, we could, like I say, continue talking about this, but we do got Eagles football here today. We do got
Our only
a
hope.
coach coming back to face his old time, not the first time, but our only hope. But you know what? So I got to pick your brain a little bit because, a lot of people are back on the Eagles bandwagon. It's crazy because at the beginning of October, people are down and out about this team. And it's amazing after one coach can shave his head and kind of, when we all thought he was a wackadoo, turned out to be that could have been the best thing for this team. I mean, no. I mean, they took care, they squeezed by the Browns. They beat the Giants convincingly. They win last week against the Bengals 37-17. John, are you back on the Eagles bandwagon?
Wow. Yes. Yeah, I am. And I think they're going to continue to roll. I think that they have this Kellen Moore situation and Nick Sirianni situation dialed in, right? We know what Jalen Hurts is. I'm hoping they have now said, I know what Jalen Hurts is. We had the Super Bowl run, right? What were we? With number one team in rushing. Let's get back to that, guys. Let's get back to that. I know that's not what the organization wants. I know that's what not Nick Sirianni doesn't want and Kellen Moore doesn't want. They want to throw the ball 40, 45 times a game. I get it. That's the way of the NFL. That's not this Birds team. This Birds team is constructed to pound the rock right down the middle, right down the other team's throat, and go and win sloppy, ugly, muddy games. We have the offensive line for it. We have the running back for it. We have the quarterback for it. Let's go do it. I'm sorry for those high-priced little sparkly diamonds out on the outside in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but they need to take a back burner and let this team do what it does best.
Well, like you said, the big question is I see everyone's excited. I don't know if I could go there yet. And the only reason why is because, and then listen, I'm glad they took care of the Giants convincingly and they took care of the Bengals. But to me, the Bengals are a team trending backwards. And I get it. They had no T. Higgins last week. And I don't know if I could buy into it. So, and their defense to me just looks so suspect. So, but maybe I should be. Maybe I should be buying it. You know what? I get it. It just shows to me that with no preseason, this team's now kind of got enough games under their belt. They're like, now we understand the Vic Fangio defense. Now we understand his play calling. Now he's doing things that he wants to do. He's got guys buying in his system. But the number one reason I think this team's been really, really good, this Eagles team's been really, really good so far in the last couple of weeks, and especially last week, the main reason was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was phenomenal. 16 completions, 236 yards, one TD, no sacks, no interceptions. He had three TDs,
fumbles.
No fumbles, 3 TDs, run the ball. I mean, he was superb. He outplayed Joe Burrow. He looked really, really good. Saquon Barkley, 22 carries, 108 yards. I mean, this Eagles offense is really becoming a juggernaut. Now they're running the ball on you. Now they're, Jalen Hurts is finding guys down the field. Devontae Smith. Yes, last week he was 6 out of 7 with Devontae Smith. 5 for 6 with Jaylen Brown. He got guys like Greg Katara making catches. He was 3 for 3 last week. I mean, like I said, the offense is clicking. Jalen Hurts looks really, really good. He's been playing very, very good in the last couple of weeks. I get it. The Bengals are trending backwards. The Giants are bomb fears, but he's handling business. He put up 37 points against the Bengals. It's not easy. And he went in their home and took care of business. Like I said, 16 completions, 236 yards, 1 TD, no sacks, 10 carries with 3 TDs. He's been playing at that MVP level.
Let me ask you a question, Pat. The worry for today is obviously going to be on the defensive side, right? Losing Slay. Is this a concern for you today? Are we relying on these young corners to really step up and win the game for us? Or are we going to see another offensive juggernaut today?
I think you're going to see another offensive juggernaut. I don't think the Birds are into that trap game. I don't think they're going to come in there and we all know Dougie P. Again, we know what his record is right now. It's not great, but I just think the Birds right now they're cooking at the right time. They're not going to take this team lightly. I think they're going to steamroll the Jacksonville Jaguars home today, and I think they're just going to get another notch on the belt, and it's going to help this team build and get ready for the Cowboys and so forth. So, again, these wins are stacking up for the Birds. It's only going to make this team stronger.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. I think it's going to be an offensive juggernaut again. I think this team should handle the Jags pretty easily. I am a little concerned with Slay going out and really putting that pressure on. I guess it's going to be Rodgers is going to step up today, and take that outside slot. So I am a little concerned that way. The Jags do have some weapons on the outside that we do need to be concerned about. Trevor Lawrence was a prized quarterback. I know he hasn't shown it so far in his NFL career, but the guy does have all the talent in the world. So they're going to put a little stress on the secondary. Let's see how they handle it, right? Let's see how Cooper DeJean does in the slot, because I think he's going to step up and be the slot guy today. And let's see how this all pans out.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right, because, again, it took a little while because, again, with the no preseason play, I think this team has figured it out. I think they figured out, and I think they figured out the Vic Fangio defense. I think it's all gelling together right now. Again, they looked really, really good last week. Again, you stopped one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. I mean, granted, he only put up 17 points, and I know he's missing one of his main weapons, but still, I mean, for the things that they were doing and the way they're shutting down the run game, I mean, you have to be happy with the Birds defense stepping up and coming through. So, again, this team is clicking right now. And like you said, they got the play calling down right. They've looked really, really, really well. So, again, it's fun because we all talked about wanting to get not Jalen Hurts. We all want to run Nick Sirianni out of town. Not so fast.
Right.
Well, let him hang around a little bit longer.
Yeah, and everyone was all over Nick for it. Nick's been this guy since we hired him, right? The very first interview he did with the rock, paper, scissors nonsense.
Yes.
Like this is our guy, right? And I love it. I love the passion. I love the fire. It's a lot better than sitting there and listening to Dougie P or any of the previous coaches who don't even give any interview, don't even show any fire, don't even show any passion. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Nick Sirianni, come on, lash out at the other team. Lash out at the fans. Let's get into it, right? You got some guys on our team that are like that, right? Brandon Graham's like that. Jalen Carter, is like that. Let's feed the fire. Let's get these guys going. Sometimes that's the spark they need to play great ball. And Nick Sirianni has his finger on the pulse in this team, and we've been the best team in football since he's been our coach. Let it go. Let it keep rolling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, of course, again, it's funny because the Nick Sirianni haters out there, they were banking on him to screw up against the Browns. That was close, but he didn't. Screw up against the Giants. Screw up against the Bengals. What? I'm pretty sure you got this conversation as well. If he loses to one of these 3 games, he's fired. Well, he passed.
I can't believe that was a conversation.
Yeah, that came around. Hey, listen. If he screws up one time, he's done. Well, guess what? He's won. Like I said, everyone thought he was a wackadoo, shaving his head and having the kids in press conference. Everyone thought he was a wack. But guess what? He's answered the bell now, and like you said, now the play calling has gotten. It's funny because when the team was losing, his play calling sucks. But now that the team is winning, well, that's the Kellen Moore play. Which one is it? When it's losing, it's Kellen. So, but no, it's like I said, it's going to be interesting again. I think the team's going to dominate the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. I think it's going to be another. Give me a 24-7 Birds win. I think I just think this team's going to dominate that Jacksonville Jaguars team. I think that Jacksonville Jaguars has no life in that locker room. Go
Right.
Birds! I like it. I don't think that team has got no life in that locker room. I just think Dougie B is just has no life. I get it. He's got the statue in front. I got the whole thing, but I think they're just going to roll over this team. I just don't see anything. And it's funny because if you look down the schedule too, they got after Jacksonville, they got to head down to Dallas, and then they got to me the real games for them is going to be the test against the Commanders. After that, they can run away with this division.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the division should be them. I'm not as afraid of the Commanders as a lot of people are. I think the Commanders are really a team that doesn't have a lot of what's called film, I guess you could say, on Jalen Daniels yet. Once teams start getting that, I think they'll start incorporating him and controlling him a little bit more than what the league is right now. We see that all the time in the NFL, right? Is when no one has any film on a guy and he comes out of nowhere. Right? We see it with the Eagles all the time. We think these guys have the first 2 games of their career and they're off the charts great, and then NFL coaches get a hold of their film and figure out how to stop them, and it's a wrap. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen with Jalen Daniels and the Commanders, even though I do think he's a great quarterback. The Cowboys, I'm not worried about. Cowboys will cowboy themselves out of it. That's what the Cowboys do. It's going to be all on the Eagles, right? Does the Eagles keep this type of offense going throughout the rest of this season? Do we stop throwing the ball 40 times a game and start relying on Jalen Hurts for what he is and what he does best and what this offensive line does best? And do we just keep rolling? We don't have to change a thing. Nick Sirianni doesn't have to change a thing. Kellen Moore doesn't have to change a thing. I'm okay punting the ball. We don't have to force the downfield. We don't have to force the big plays. Let's dink and dunk. Let's run the ball. Let's punt the ball and let this defense eat. Like this is the team we have. We're the best team in football. Let's go out and prove it.
And take it a step further, right? What to me was the best thing could ever happen to the Birds this during this month was the Giants game, because the Giants to me was the get right game. Build confidence through that defense, get things right up there. And we get it. Giants are a bomb feeder, but that's the time you get things right. Clear your head, go up there and handle business. Jalen Hurts is now playing with more confidence than ever. Saquon Barkley, we all know it could just take chunks out of anyone's defense. And now, and of course, now your wideouts are healthy. So this team, even though they're banged up in some areas, of course, you're not going to have the Jordan Monlaz and all that stuff. But that's fine. Guys are stepping up on offense and still looking good. So I love what this team is bringing. I love the offense from this team. Just keep rocking and rolling. And I think, like I said, it's going to rock and roll today. You know, again, just make yourself – and now, like I get it. And again, I said at the top, the segment, the Giants are nobody, the Bengals are trending backwards, but that's fine. These are the get right games. And then what this kind of makes you more dangerous, because now really, if you look at the NFC as not just the AFC, not just the NFC East, but if you look at the NFC entirely, Detroit may be the only team that kind of, puts a scare in you a little bit. Other than that, who really scares you?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Detroit. Detroit's a good, solid team. I think we're better. I think we're better on paper. I think we're better on the field. And Chris, to your point here, I don't think this is a trap game, right? It's hard to have a home trap game. I think trap games are more on the road, right? If we were on the road in Jacksonville and then have to go to Dallas next week, maybe. But a trap game at home, it should be very, very difficult. This should be a game that the Eagles handle. I have it going 33 to 17. I think it should be an easy, handleable game. I think it should be a wash, right? There's no trap game here at home. Eagles going to Dallas next week is going to be the big test for me. Going on the road, going out on a different time zone, that's where it's going to be a little bit of a different feel to me. Chris, to your point though, with the Lions, what with Hutch being out, are you afraid of that defense now? I mean, I'm not afraid of that Lions defense. I don't think they have the ability to stop this Eagles offense without Hutchinson putting pressure on the edges. Unless they go out and make a big time splash in the next couple of days, the Eagles are better. It's just that simple to me.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, you look at that NFC West, right? The Niners don't look like a contender no more. You know, they've kind of that whole NFC West is just a free for all out there. The AFC South is kind of deploted. Maybe the Falcons, yeah. But other than that, the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings look like they've come down to reality a little bit, losing 2 back-to-back games. Why not? Why, and the Giants, I mean, like I said, and the Lions, that might be, like I said, the only team that might give you some stellar competition. And I get it. Yeah. And like I said, you said it best, John. During this stretch, if like I said, the conversation was going around. If the Eagles were going to lose one of these games, Nick was going to be out. They haven't. So what's that telling you? This team is playing for their head coach. They are playing for his head coach, no matter what the media or whatever, whoever says, the fans, media, they know what's going on in that locker room. They are playing for their head coach. They obviously like playing for Nick. And they are going to play for Nick, and they're going to play for Jalen, and they are moving forward in the right direction. So, guys, listen,
this locker room is strong. Sorry, this locker room is strong, right? We have a good, friendly locker room. You don't ever hear of any internal fighting on this team, right? Everything has been on the field. External stuff has been great. Nick Sirianni has really capped this team from having Jalen Carter come in with all the college issues, and he's never going to have his head on straight. Well, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey and took him under his wing and really have set a culture for this franchise that's going to last for years. Nick Sirianni is a culture guy. He may not be an X's and O's guy, but guess what? He has that culture in the Philadelphia Eagles locker room that's set for championship contending play.
Yeah, and it is. It's set for championship contender play, and it's like I said, I can't wait until like I said, we're getting down the line. But like I said, all October we had supposedly a Red October that went nowhere. We we have a slow start with a hockey team. We have a slow start with a basketball team. There was really no margin for we were looking for hope. We didn't believe. Nobody believed in this Eagles team. The Eagles were off to a slow start after they got shellacked by the Tampa Bay Bucks. No one had that belief in them, and now the Birds are kind of turning things around. So everyone should be happy with them. I feel like we have a soccer development team to believe into, and now the Birds to believe into.
Yeah, and congrats to the Union too on yesterday. Hopefully they go on and finish it off. But Eagles are our only hope out of the 4 majors right now. Phillies, we gotta wait till next year. Flyers and Sixers, I think, is going to be a long, long year. Eagles are it. This city is bleeding green right now, and we need to pull it off. That it's that plain and simple. Eagles need to save this city from imploding in the sports world again this year.
Absolutely. Well, listen, John, before we get out, of course, I got to ask you, 1 o'clock game, what's the meal of the day?
Eagles are on a 4 o'clock game today, though, right?
4 o'clock.
Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, no. You're right. You're right. My fault. 4 o'clock. I got used to the 1 o'clockers.
In the Coil House, we are going to do some baked ziti with a little sausage today. I think that's going to be the meal of the day. We were just talking about it on the way here to the store. We're going to go with the ziti today.
That's a great overall selection on a Sunday. That is a great. Now let me ask you: was that your idea, or was that the home supervisor?
No, that's my idea. Where
Okay.
Chef John's going to get in there and mix it up today and throw it around. We'll see how it turns out. But it's one of those meals I think I can make it for the 1 o'clock games, right? And you can make a lot of it, and that can last till dinner. Pasta lasts all day.
Yes. Yes. Well, listen, I might have to do an interception on that. No, I think we're going to do a little chicken parmesan myself at the Bernard household. But listen,
Nice.
of all the time slots, I love 4 o'clockers. I'm a 4 o'clock
So do
guy. I love the 4 o'clock
Yep.
times. I think it's the perfect time to sit down. You get some groceries done. You're not rushing to the store. You get back. You're chill mode. You're 4 o'clock, and it's funny because it's our guy Chris Pompetti checks into the show. A loss here in Philadelphia with the Birds ruins your whole week. It starts on Monday, and the frustrations. But a Birds win kind of puts you on like a happy going kind of thing. So, but anyway, guys, check it out. Guys, again, All Campus Store. Please go check it out. It is down there in New Jersey, Ocean City, New Jersey. Go get yourself one of the hot topics. Look at John's. John's. What's it? It's November Military Appreciation Day for the Sixers and Eagles coming up.
Yeah.
Listen, why not get yourself a hat before going to that game? And listen, John can hook you up with one of those cool looking hats. So, guys, go down there today. There's the address right there at the bottom of your screen. Go hang out with John. Guys, we will catch you later. For me, John, go Birds.
Go Birds, guys. Have a good one.
See you later.